for you, for us, your message to Filipino fans who supported you this week?
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to not just the Filipino fans, but to everyone. I think, here in Indian Wells, this is a really big tournament where a lot of tennis fans go to support. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching some of my matches. I hope that you can keep following my journey, and of course sa mga Pinoy, maraming salamat sa suporta. Magkita tayo sana sa Miami, at sana sa susunod kong laban mas maganda yung laro ko.
Major metropolitan centers don't simply roll out the red carpet for every professional athlete who arrives. The city of Miami, in particular, isn't known for granting preferential treatment just because someone politely requested it. However, upon Alex Eala's arrival in Miami Gardens to compete in the 2026 Miami Open, the atmosphere felt palpably and undeniably different. The welcome she received was anything but standard procedure. It defied all normal conventions, and the entire global tennis community is still trying to fully comprehend the significance of what they just witnessed. Do you believe Alex Eala can advance deeper into the Miami 2026 tournament than she did last year? Or do you think the pressure of being a seeded player will change her performance? Drop your prediction in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Let's put that away now.
Put away. Excuse me. He got it. Did he get it? Please. Excuse me, move aside. Thank you. Good job, Alex. Make a pass, make a pass. Excuse me, make a pass, please. Thank you.
At that time, no one was reassigning her matches to the main stadium courts, and nobody was adjusting the tournament schedule to accommodate the crowds she was drawing. She was essentially another name on a very long roster of athletes that most casual tennis followers had never heard of. But then she went out and achieved the improbable, defeating Iga Świątek, followed by Madison Keys and then Jeļena Ostapenko. Three former Grand Slam champions stunned one after the other by a 20-year-old phenom from the Philippines who wasn't even supposed to be a factor in this tournament. The city of Miami did not forget that electrifying performance. And so upon her return this year, Miami's organizers made absolutely certain that Alex Eala felt their respect. The very first thing that must be understood about this situation is just how exceptionally rare it truly is. Securing a seeded entry into a prestigious WTA 1000 event is not a privilege that is simply handed out to players. You have to earn it through an extended and sustained period of top-tier results at the highest level and by accumulating the ranking points that accompany those victories. Alex Eala is now officially the 32nd seed at the 2026 Miami Open. This status means she begins her campaign with a first-round bye, while lower-ranked athletes are forced to grind through demanding opening matches just to earn a spot in the main draw. She gets to bypass that entire initial stage of competition, which grants her additional time for rest. She is afforded extra preparation time for her upcoming matches and receives the kind of prime scheduling consideration that this tournament reserves exclusively for players who have definitively proven they belong among the sport's elite, and she has certainly proven it. The statistics make that abundantly clear, especially after her impressive journey to the round of 16 at Indian Wells. It was there that she pressured Coco Gauff to the point of a mid-match retirement, sending Eala's live ranking surging to approximately world number 28. For any player who was positioned outside the top 100 just over a year ago, that kind of upward trajectory is not merely gradual progress. That is a full-blown sprint up the world rankings. The tennis establishment had for a long time classified Alex Eala within the category of a promising young talent with significant potential. The Miami 2026 tournament is the exact moment that particular category officially became obsolete for her. Before we dive completely into the Miami events, her performance at Indian Wells fully deserves its own dedicated moment of recognition. Eala came into Indian Wells as the 31st seed, which was already a landmark achievement, as she became the first Filipino player to ever compete in the main draw of that event, and she delivered results that perfectly matched the too historic occasion. She battled her way into the round of 16, a more advanced stage than several higher-ranked competitors were able to reach. The one match that captured the most significant attention was her intense clash with the formidable Coco Gauff. Gauff, the world's number 4 player, is one of the most recognizable faces in the sport. An athlete who had recently won a Grand Slam and was widely expected to cruise through her section of the draw without any major challenges. Instead of a smooth path forward, she ran directly into a determined Alex Eala, and the match ultimately concluded with Gauff retiring from the contest. Now, retirements can happen in professional tennis for a wide variety of reasons. Sometimes it is a clear injury, other times it's a combination of factors, but the specific context is what truly matters here. Gauff was by no means cruising. It was an intensely competitive and hard-fought battle from the very first point. The fact that it concluded with Eala progressing to the round of 16 while Gauff headed for an early exit sent a loud and clear message that the official rankings had already been whispering about for months. Alex Eala is no longer an opponent that top-tier players can afford to take lightly. Not anymore. Her tournament run eventually came to an end at the hands of Linda Noskova. Noskova won that match convincingly, but Eala handled the defeat in the same manner she handles most professional challenges. She responded with perspective, deep self-awareness, and an immediate focus on what was coming next. During her post-match comments to the press, she was already discussing her plans for Miami. And so, when she finally did arrive in Miami Gardens for the 2026 edition of the tournament, the entire atmosphere was different. The welcome was unlike anything a non-American player at her ranking would ordinarily receive. Her practice sessions at the famous Hard Rock Stadium consistently drew impressively large crowds. This particular phenomenon is not entirely new for Eala. Her training sessions have been attracting substantial numbers of spectators for a while now. As a case in point, a recent video of her practice session gathered more than 94,000 views within just 24 hours of being posted. That level of digital engagement simply does not occur for the majority of players ranked inside the top 30, let alone for an athlete still rapidly ascending toward that elite group. It is now being reported that tournament organizers are actively factoring her proven crowd-drawing power into their logistical and scheduling decisions for the entire event. When an athlete consistently draws crowds that overfill their assigned venues, any well-managed tournament will act swiftly. Moving them to larger courts is the only logical response, enabling a far greater number of fans to witness the action live. A bigger crowd directly translates to a more electric atmosphere, which in turn boosts broadcast ratings and elevates the entire event as a premium product. The very fact that Miami's organizers are now actively reassessing how they manage Alex Eala's match schedule and court placements is incredibly telling. This strategic shift indicates that event leadership has analyzed the attendance data and concluded she is a premier attraction. She is no longer a secondary storyline or an uplifting subplot. She is the main event. This represents a profound change from the player who arrived just 12 months earlier, when the tournament office had little concern for where she was slated to play or how many spectators might show up. Immediately prior to the start of the Miami Open, Eala made a noteworthy trip to Nike's global headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. Make no mistake, this was anything but a standard run-of-the-mill check-in for a sponsored athlete. Nike is renowned for being one of the most discerning sports brands on the planet regarding how it elevates its athletes at the corporate level. The kind of prominent exposure that an athlete gains from being showcased at their main headquarters, the sort of feature where your image becomes integral to the brand's core narrative, is an honor reserved for individuals Nike has deemed worthy of a long-term investment. Alex Eala received precisely that distinguished treatment. Information from that visit confirmed she was given a truly exceptional welcome, with her likeness featured prominently in Nike's History in Full Bloom campaign. The deep symbolism embedded within that tagline is entirely intentional and carefully chosen. It draws a connection to the sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines, and it conveys that Nike is doing far more than simply sponsoring a tennis athlete. They are actively constructing a powerful story around her identity, her cultural heritage, and her career trajectory. Additionally, there are substantial reports circulating about the development of a custom sampaguita-inspired signature collection being created exclusively for her. If that collection comes to fruition, it would launch Alexandra Eala into a commercial stratosphere that very few tennis professionals ever enter. These are players who don't just wear the brand, but have entire product lines designed around their unique identity. To put this into broader context, the names operating at that elite level are more than just athletes. They are genuine cultural icons. For a 20-year-old from the Philippines to be part of a conversation that even borders on that tier is an absolutely monumental accomplishment. This signifies that a global brand is making a profound, long-range investment in her future. And here is one more figure that is worth contemplating. Following her Indian Wells campaign, Eala collected $15,720 in prize money from that single competition. Her cumulative career prize money has now eclipsed the $1.6 million mark, all before she has reached the age of 21. And this fact is important for reasons far beyond the obvious financial gain. Prize money is the currency of independence in professional sports. It marks the crucial difference between an athlete who must constantly manage the financial strains of the tour and one who can make pivotal decisions about her coaching team, her competition schedule, and her recovery protocols based entirely on what is optimal for her development, not what is dictated by economic constraints. Eala has successfully built a financial foundation so solid that she now operates from a position of genuine stability and power. That stability clearly shows in the way she carries herself on and off the court. She is no longer chasing victories out of desperation. She isn't straining to prove her place on the tour. She has already demonstrated that she belongs, and the balance in her bank account serves as a very tangible confirmation of that status. The public comments Eala made before the Miami Open are worth close attention. She was exceptionally direct and candid. She acknowledged that her experience at the Miami 2025 tournament was truly magnificent, reflecting on her incredible run, her pivotal wins, and the wave of attention that followed. She referred to it as the start of everything, yet she was equally adamant that she is not returning with the simple goal of reliving that same story. She stated plainly that she has grown significantly. She has experienced great matches and difficult losses, and has built a wealth of experience that has developed a level of self-belief she didn't possess before. Then she articulated something that perfectly summarized her current mindset and place in this sport. She knows she belongs at this level and she is here for the long haul. That is not the language of a player simply hoping to survive the early rounds. That is the confident language of a competitor who has fully accepted her position in the sport, arriving not to prove something she already knows to be true, but to compete and win. Considering everything that has transpired over the last 12 months, that unshakable confidence is entirely and deservedly earned. The 2026 Miami Open draw has placed Eala as the 32nd seed in the tournament. By the logic of tournament brackets, this means she could face some highly significant and challenging matchups as early as the third round. Świątek, who was defeated by Eala in this very tournament in 2025 and then faced an early elimination at Indian Wells this year, emerges as a potential collision course depending on how the initial rounds unfold. A Świątek arriving in Miami after a period of difficulty is a version of the player that Eala has already proven she can handle. That victory on these specific courts was far from a fortunate accident. It was a technically masterful and mentally composed performance delivered against the #1 player in the world. Eala executed her game plan to perfection, maintained an aggressive style of play, and decisively closed out the match. Whether they meet again this year depends on both players winning their opening matches. But the mere possibility is already generating significant attention, and for entirely valid reasons. The anticipation is not because a potential rematch would be viewed as another major upset story, but because it would represent a legitimate high-stakes battle between two elite athletes who now share a meaningful and developing competitive history. For Alexandra Eala, the broader narrative in Miami is fundamentally about ranking points. Having battled her way to the semifinals here in 2025, she now carries the significant weight of defending those hard-earned points. If she manages to replicate or improve upon that remarkable performance, her ascent into the upper echelons of the rankings will continue. Should she advance even further, securing a place in the championship match or hoisting the trophy, the entire conversation surrounding her global standing transforms profoundly. An extended and successful campaign in Miami could realistically propel her into the top 20 for the first time ever, a monumental leap in her professional journey. That would establish another historic first for Philippine tennis and add another major milestone to a career that has been accumulating incredible achievements with increasing speed. Here is the straightforward explanation for the incredible reception Alex Eala received in Miami, and it has nothing to do with sentiment. This isn't a gesture of charity nor simply a show of goodwill for a widely admired athlete. It is because she is a proven draw who sells tickets, fills stadium seats, commands massive viewership, and consistently creates memorable moments that spark widespread discussion. The professional tournament circuit thrives on exactly those elements. When an athlete consistently delivers on all four of those key metrics, tournament organizers and promoters inevitably take notice and act accordingly. Alex Eala has now become that kind of player not solely for her dedicated Filipino fanbase, which is famously loyal, vocal, and truly one of the most enthusiastic supporter communities in all of tennis, but also for the wider sports world, where her compelling story, her impressive upward trajectory, and her consistent results have captured widespread attention. Her remarkable composure under pressure and her engaging personality have made her a player that fans far beyond her core base are now beginning to follow with great interest. The organizers in Miami clearly recognize the valuable asset they have in her, and they are treating her with the respect and prominence that status commands. From ranked 140 to earning a seated position, from the underdog to the main event. Alex Eala's arrival in Miami this year is a powerful statement about the incredible progress she has made. If you are following her journey through this tournament and you believe her greatest moments are still ahead,